It's time for another Santa Anita Pick'em contest preview. We got the Wolf of Oaklawn here, Chase Sessoms, alongside Gino Bacola, and we are going to get you all set up for Saturday, February the 5th, and the free Pick'em contest at Santa Anita. You are looking at the website. Doesn't cost you a cent to enter, and you get $500 if you are the winner each Saturday, each Sunday, each holiday Monday. Best way to build your bankroll, Wolfie, is when you don't have to lose any actual money.
Oh yeah, it's all profit then if you're able to win with little to no overhead. So yeah, definitely worth jumping in and playing.
Okay, so what makes this week a little difficult too is we don't have any football in the props this weekend. Some of the there's no hockey either. So that limits. There's a lot more college basketball, some NBA, and then a lot of the racing props on both Saturday and Sunday. We're showing you the website right here. This is how you sign up. Just go to pick'em.santanita.com and make sure to register. Check out all the details here, and you will win $500 if you make the most correct picks. I remind everybody every time we do one of these that it's just 1 point for each selection. So, Chase, you don't get rewarded if you have a 10-1 shot or a 20-1 shot when you have to pick the winners in the races. So if you do think the chalk is the most likely winner, it's probably best to take the point and move along.
Yeah, absolutely. Name of the game is just pick winners. JPW. Always remember it.
And you, I'm going to say it's a little quiet for you this weekend. All quiet on the Wolfie front with Oaklawn canceling up. Lots of crazy weather. What's it like where you are?
Well, we got, it seems like probably like 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches of just kind of like sleet with a little bit of snow. So it's just, everything has just basically been a solid sheet of ice for the last couple of days. And I mean, if you don't know much about Oaklawn, it's actually technically in a national park. They can't use certain things to actually de-ice the track and everything, like certain chemicals and stuff, because it's against the rules. So they wiped it out for the weekend, and I'm living my Ferris Bueller's weekend off pretty much here.
And so now Wolf's got even a little more attention to pay to these Saturday contests coming up. So let's jump right in and take a look at what our props are. 12 props every Saturday, Sunday, plus the tiebreaker. Make sure to jump on in to the tiebreaker. So let's take a look at the Saturday, February 5th props. First up, with the tiebreaker, what did you have for it is a really good Saturday of college basketball. Shout out, we have a college basketball show tomorrow on Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern time, where we preview a lot of the Saturday slate. So did you have any thoughts on what you think for the total in this game?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at what these teams combine to whenever they what their average points per game are, it's going to come up about 162. I thought this might be a little bit more high scoring, a little bit more, back and forth. So I bumped it up 10 points and I went 172.
It's funny. I was at the 175. These two teams are two of the higher scoring teams in the country. They're very, very, very explosive. They are like high power teams, and their defenses aren't all that fantastic either. So yeah, we're both in that same range, in the 170-ish range. Make sure to fill your tiebreaker out. What's cool is I'll lock mine in 175. Every time you submit, you get that little alert that lets you know you've made your selection. So your tiebreaker is in. As we move along to Baylor, Kansas. How many total three-pointers will be made in the Baylor-Kansas game? 2 top 10 teams in the country. They're going to be playing on Saturday. Tell us how you handicap this one.
This is another one where I feel like the best way to kind of jump into it is to take a look at what the teams are averaging in terms of how many three-pointers they're hitting per game. It ended up, I think around 15, 16, around there. Mm-hmm. But I thought that, these two teams might not have some, one team just absolutely start lighting it up from 3-point. And so I actually went the same direction you went with 10 to 13, 14 to 17. You're just kind of on the cusp. If they just hit a little bit below that their average, you're going to hit this with the 10 to 13.
Because I think for both people would just sort of assume these two teams are a little bit more prolific shooting than they are, right? Being kind of really good teams, but Baylor just, like you said, like 8.5 3-pointers per game, and just 38% of their field goals are 3-pointers.
Right.
In Kansas, they're even less, 7.5 3-pointers per game, and only 34% of their field goals are 3-pointers. So neither one of these teams even shoots a lot of threes as it is. So I think we're both in the same range. I went slightly under the average, thinking tough game. Both teams will be, in the game, and it's going to be a little bit more difficult to score. So yeah, we're both in the 10 through 13 range. Baylor, Kansas, total 3-pointers. So we move along. This one's kind of interesting. What will the margin of victory be in the USC-Arizona game? 1-2, 3-6, 7-10, 11-15, 16-20, or 21 or more. So where did you land?
I went pretty high here. I went 16-20. If you look at Arizona's offensive output, they're pretty staunch. If you look at, if you look at, what USC scores a game, it's not very high. So it had me thinking that maybe, it could end up being just like an Arizona blowout. And if Arizona scores anything close to what they normally do, then they might really put it on. They might really put it on a USC here. So I went ahead and went high. It looked like a contrarian pick and probably the way to go for me.
If USC shows up with any type of performance that they had last night against Arizona State, they'll get beat by 20, 21. They'll get crushed in this game. I think strangely that because I went 7-10 because I felt like it's kind of safe, and I actually felt like for some reason if USC were to beat Arizona, like both of these teams could hit in that range. If either were to win, like I don't think USC would win by double digits, but if USC was up by like 4 and then this game crept to 7 or 8, it wouldn't be that crazy for me. And
Sure.
Arizona has, it's one of those weird things where it's like I think the game will either be way closer than it should and USC wins the game, or Arizona just beats USC by 30 and they're just that much better. Like I'm gonna go in the 7-10 range because I think that sort of covers my bases on that. So, I know I'm going to, when we talk about this tomorrow, I'm probably going to lean USC and just playing the points in this spot. I sort of feel like they played as poor a game as they could. Arizona played a really good game, and now they'll both kind of meet. And it's a tough spot for Arizona after having played UCLA a couple times recently to now have USC coming in. It's a Saturday's college basketball slate, I think, is the best of the year so far.
It may be. You have a lot of just like sneaky good matchups, even between like unranked teams. Like my Razorbacks and Mississippi State, that's going to be a pretty good game. Kentucky, Alabama will be great. Kansas, Baylor is pretty well just like a heavyweight, Big 12 showdown. So
yeah, even ones like Illinois, Indiana is cool. We got Okie State, which is always fun. Like there's just a lot going on this weekend in a big college basketball Saturday. We move along to prop number 3. Which number will be higher, the leading scorer for Kentucky or the highest payout on the Santa Anita card? For me, in this one, Chase, Kentucky is a very good basketball team. They can score a ton of points. We saw it against Tennessee, but I don't think their ceiling is as high as the highest win payout on the Santa Anita card. Kentucky could have a good game and their leading scorer could have 15 points.
Yeah, this one just seemed tough to me because going through the Santa Anita card, I saw a bunch of races that I thought could end up.
And that's the key.
Yeah, I thought
you have to handicap the card. If it's chalky and you don't think it's going to be more than a 6 or 7 to 1 shot there, then you're probably leaning Kentucky.
Yeah, but at the same time, I have maybe 2 or 3 races where it looks like it could be absolute chaos. I have maybe like 5 or 6 horses that I consider contenders. Some of them are like, 12 to 1, 20 to 1 range. If one of those comes in, then it's probably an easy win for the Santa Anita card because, I mean, it looks like the leading scorers for both teams average about 14 points. So, I mean, that's like a 6-1. If I hit like a 12-1, 20-1, I don't think there's any way that gets topped.
Yeah, I agree. So I ended up going with the win payout just because I feel like there's so much more of a ceiling. I think there were three races on the card where I did have double digit horses, where I felt like they could that I picked on top. I think so. Those horses could pay $25, and I don't think someone on Kentucky will get there. I mean, there are 4 or 5 different players that absolutely could. They're good enough, but they spread it around so much. So it ends up being really hard for anyone to be that much of a prolific scorer, kind of game in, game out. So I'm on the highest win total at Santa Anita. Where do we go for number 4, Chase?
Oh, we are going to be picking the winner of the 4th race on the Santa Anita card, which is a 6 furlong maiden clamor for $30,000 on the dirt. This race, you would think could be wide open, but I actually leaned into my inner chalk-eating weasel. I went with the 3 Fort Bridger. Getting the weight break has shown that it wants to get out on the front. Last time it caught a bump start, rushed up to get the lead, and then just didn't have enough to hold off a contender at the wire there. So, I mean, with the weight break, with the penchant for early speed, the speed figure that came back from the triple trip, I kind of thought that Fort Bridger might handle business as the morning line favorite.
Fort Bridger for the Wolf, very logical. I almost chalked out here. I did go to King Rob. We spoke about this horse a little bit this morning with Barry Spears on the Stable Duel live stream. And if you just toss the last race, which was troubled, I mean, the debut race was very good. The blinkers come on. A repeat of anything similar to that debut race would make King Rob, shout out Game of Thrones, King of the North, Robb Stark here, the one to probably to hold off. So I'm using the 5 at 8-1 in race number 4. Going to zig a little bit and get creative. What about you in race number 5, Chase? Where are you headed here?
Well, this one, I went with Limu Bai, the Richie Baltas horse with Victor Espinoza up. It seems like in these sort of 1 mile turf routes at Santa Anita, you can't let yourself get too far behind the pace. If you're trying to come from way off, it's hard to actually get up and win. I went ahead and thought that, this horse, A, getting the cut back, but B, isn't going to let this race get too far out in front of him, just based off of what I'm seeing out of that last race when he had Flavian up. And then I've always got my Victor Espinoza, spinal pain brother angle with if Victor Espinoza is up on a horse with that back pain, then you better pay attention.
So I'm on the same horse as you. Limi Bai, who got bumped at the start, settled inside, a little bit rank, was pulling, got checked, lost a couple lengths, and then made a big move, got a really nice opening. I just think the 1 1/8 was just a little bit too far. If it was probably a 1 1/16, this horse wins that race. Like, actually was right there, and then just got a bit weird, little bit leg weary late. So I have them stacked in this race. If you're just kind of looking at other horses to include, I had them stacked 4, 1, and 5, but the 4 is the play for both Chase and myself. Limu Bai, 5-1 on the morning line, and not many have selected this one quite yet for number 5. We move along to number 6. We're going to get back to the world of college basketball. Chase, which team scores the most points on Saturday? Baylor, Kansas, USC, Arizona, Duke, North Carolina, UCLA, or Arizona State?
You can tell there's a lot of California people picking right now because I'm on Arizona. I'm on one of the team that puts up some of the, has one of the highest points per game in the country. I went ahead and leaned there, and at 3% of everyone else picking them, I think this is a great spot to take something I feel is obvious and get the heads up on the rest of the field.
I can't believe they're that low. I thought they would be like second, honestly. Now, the only reason why I'm not picking them is because USC does have a pretty good defense. So there are versions of this game where it's a little bit harder than normal for Arizona to score. I'm going Duke, mainly because Duke has a very good offense. They average over 80 points per game. North Carolina averages 78. They both play really high up-tempo games. I just think it's going to be a bit like a really high-scoring type of game there for both of these two teams. So
I mean, it's a rivalry game too. Those are the kind of games that you could definitely see going into overtime and being on ESPN Classic the day after.
So that is in the college world now. We'll bounce all around because, like I said, college and NBA is what is going to be a lot of the on the Saturday prop slate here. As we get to 7, prop 7 is back to the races. Chase, where are we headed down the hill in race number 7?
So I went with the 6 Count of Amazonia. I might be wearing out this Victor Espinoza angle just a little bit, but here we go again. Also, I like seeing horses that have won before on the downhill turf.
Yep.
This one didn't win last out on the downhill turf. Got beat by a nose. Came from about 8 lengths back at the first call. I think there's enough speed that this horse is going to be able to sit kind of off of it. I like the post draw kind of right there in the middle of the field. I mean, the horse is well traveled. I mean, it's won in the UK. It's raced in Medan. I think second off the layoff, this horse might really be ready to take a step forward.
Count of Amazonia for the Wolf. I'm going to the same race, Chase, but I'm going to Exultation, who also came down the hill, had a pretty good start, was a couple lengths off in third or fourth, was in between, was in that second flight, and was blocked, nowhere to go, had to back out of it, and got forced into a bad spot inside. And that was his first try since July. And, he can take a nice step forward off of that effort. Exultation, who is 12-1 on the morning line, I think has a big shot. I did have your horse pegged as at the very least and underneath horse. I had him 3, 5, 6 in this race here. 3, 5, 7.
I was gonna ask what you made of that 5. I was really in the weeds trying to figure out this 5 because of the running style it flashed last out on the downhill, where it's never been a horse that's been out on the front. All of a sudden they put Pratt up and it's straight out for the lead, and it's not slow fractions either.
Yeah, I think some of that had more to do with the draw. The fact that he drew the rail. Down the hill, it's really tough when you're down on the inside. If you don't get out early, you get that real shuffle and you can be in a bad spot. So I've seen Pratt do this a lot of times with horses that draw the inside, and I think that may have been the case. I wouldn't be shocked if you end up getting the trip that you're talking about, right? The trip where he can sit off a little bit more in here. So if you're playing like late pick 4s or pick 5s or stuff like that, I wouldn't dismiss Colt Hard, but I thought it was a pretty interesting race where, 3, 5, 6, and 7 were all kind of combinations of horses that I wanted to use in exotics there in race number 7 at Santa Anita. We get to prop number 8, and we got a cross sport prop. We got race 8 at Santa Anita, so we have to talk about the San Pasqual and what the win payout of the San Pasqual might be, where Express Train is a pretty short price. It's not the biggest field in the world, and anybody winning the race probably wouldn't pay that massive of a price, right?
Right. I still kind of think, I still think that there might be a possibility that you see something a little bit crazy here. I mean, 8 rings, you've got a Bob Baffert trained horse. He's hitting at 40% right now. You got Johnny V up. He's a little bit of a longer price. All you need is just a little bit of a price here, and it's enough to possibly beat whatever Westbrook, whatever his output is for assists. Don't get me wrong, Westbrook could have a 17 assist game, a 20 assist game. But if you get a surprise, I feel like you get a little bit more value here by going with the win payout as opposed to Russell Westbrook.
So this one, mainly, I think a lot of it comes down to how you handicap the race, right? So I think at a mile and a 16th, I'd give 8 rings more of a shot. I don't know if at a mile and an 8th, he's got quite as much of a chance. I'm not sure if I'm as high on American Theorem either. I think they may end up battling a little. I was pretty sold on this being a pretty chalky race between Express Train and Law Professor. So I thought with Westbrook assist, there might be higher upside. Now, what's crazy is that last night on Thursday night, he only had 4 assists.
Right.
And so, if that happens, almost anyone in this race would be a higher payout. Literally, like the chalk would be a higher payout than that. The 2 games prior to that, he had 13 and 12. And so like either one of those would probably be pretty tough to beat.
Right.
I'll lean Westbrook, and I'm pretty positive at the moment LeBron's not playing. If for some reason LeBron does end up playing and the ball comes out of his hands a little bit more, then I might go the other way. But with no LeBron, he does have to dribble the ball a lot more and just have the ball. And now Anthony Davis is back. So, you get a couple maybe lobs a game. You get a couple extra assists just on the AD factor. I'd lean Westbrook, but not confidently. I got to say, as a Laker fan this year, he has major positives and major negatives, like we all do, strengths and weaknesses. But there have been way too many times where I sort of see him take plays off, kind of dog it, kind of mad at the ref or a bad call. And, he's got this like plays hard on every play, plays hard all the time rep. But when you watch him all the time, there are a lot of plays where it's like, well, man, he was just half-assing it on defense and we got beat. Like, wow, he was complaining about that and he got beat. Wow, so it's been a little bit disappointing. Obviously, they haven't been winning games, but just in how he's been playing, I've been disappointed. So he's going to disappoint me again here, Chase, and I'm sure go under this one for me. Right.
Right. That's how it always works. They always break your heart.
Yeah. So let's get to race number 9. Tell us about who you're going to pick in race number 9, which is just a straight who's going to win this race.
I'm breaking a rule for myself, which is I rarely like to use horses that broke their maiden and are facing winners for the first time last out. But I am going to go ahead and do it with Dougie Fresh and Flavien Prat with the 3 Hail Freedom.
Nice.
at 6-1. For one, the horse showed a lot of maturity in the fact that it can pass other horses. It's run some really great races. The problem is it hangs like a chandelier, regularly. However, I mean, coming off like just some bullet workouts going into these races, ran a bullet, won the last race, runs another bullet here, heading into this one. So I'm going to take the shot. I like the run style. I like that it's going to stick close to the lead. And I'm hoping to get a little bit of a surprise with the price there.
We're on the same horse. And I think kind of what you were talking about, I just think the 6 furlongs was perfect for him, right? They were trying to figure out what it was, they were going like a mile and 16th. That was a little bit too far. 6.5, still a little bit too far. It just felt like that was a perfect spot. He's got a little more punch, going this trip. I think I feel like that mile was just long, and this is where this horse wants to be. I think this is a good spot for Hail Freedom, who was a winner last time out. Hail Freedom at these like sprinty trips, much, much better than going longer. So we're both on the same. If you were looking for like a little bit longer of a price, the one that I was thinking about including, and I probably will in some like pick forwards and stuff, the 11 Fly to Mars, who is one that will, I think, be a little bit better, at this trip also. So that's race number 9 for prop number 9 today, as we head to the Knicks-Lakers game for number 10, Chase. And where do you want to head here?
So we're asking who's going to be the leading scorer for the Knicks-Lakers game. We've got a whole list of players, and I don't want any of them. I'm going other. Give me Julius Randle.
I did the same thing. Other includes Julius and a few others, and you just have Julius against the Lakers. Yep. I think it's just the revenge factor. Against my old team, we always see this with these former Laker players come back in and light them up. Lakers have been awful defensively, and I'm with you. We're both going other, which is we're leaning other for the Julius reason, but you do get a couple others in that category too.
Sure. Honestly, I feel like he's the only player on the Knicks that I actually would really hang my hat on. I gave RJ Barrett a good look, but I thought, I mean, it's shocking to me that Julius Randle wasn't in the list. And I feel like that's like betting the field in a golf tournament. There's just a lot more value there.
Okay. Let's get to number 11. How many wins on the card will Prat have?
He has been burning me over and over and over again in these things. I went 2. Everyone else is going 2. I think he stays pretty well capped at 2 wins here. Even though he's got a ton of just excellent mounts, it just seems like I thought he was a contender in about 6 races or so.
Yeah.
And if you look at what he averages out to, I know I sound like a huge math nerd as of late, but if you look at what he averages out to, it's just that it would 2 out of 6 would probably make sense.
I went 3, mainly just because I'm right with as 2 or 3 for me. And I usually, if it's close like that, I'll try to go with the one that's slightly, but I'm in the 2 to 3 range. Like, he's so live. He's riding so well. He's on so many top tier horses that he's just tough to deny.
Right.
As we get to the largest margin of victory at Santa Anita or Talon Horton Tucker points scored. Where do you go for this one to close it out in our final prop, Chase?
I'm going to be completely honest with you. I had no idea who Talon Horton Tucker was at all before I read this question. So I looked at it, and I mean, it seems like he's been getting significant minutes. I don't know if that takes an impact with LeBron James back, but looking at this card, I don't think that you're going to have a lot of just like haul off, runaway, open panels, winners here. So I went ahead and went with Talon Horton Tucker here and the points scored.
I did the same thing. Talon Horton Tucker is someone that is very, very, he has a really high ceiling. Like, his A-level game can be awesome. Like, he can score 20 or 25 points. He just has not been able to shoot at all recently. He's inconsistent. But I mean, if this like 4 or 5 lengths, 8 lengths, you know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
He doesn't need much to nail this. He does not need much to nail this at all. And your pup's saying hello. I can hear it, huh?
Yeah, that's Rosie. She's she's in timeout right now.
Milo made an appearance on the live stream earlier this morning on the Stable Duel one as well. So tell Rosie hello for us. And Chase, we don't have your Wolf of Oaklawn picks for this weekend to promote, but let us know, everyone out there, where we can find more of you and where we can get those picks when Oaklawn's up and running again next week.
Yeah, I've been fortunate enough to team up with Horse Racing Nation. If you just visit picks.horseracingnation.com, it is there for every single day of the Oaklawn meet, and also have a 30-day subscription plan, so you can get a little bit of value there if you plan on playing every single day.
Pick'em.santanita.com every Saturday, every Sunday. Chase and I will be here with you on Friday afternoon into the evening at 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific, and we will take you through the card for Saturday. We'll see what's up. Next weekend, maybe we'll flip. I'm going to look because I think on Sunday there might be like a really big one based around the Super Bowl. So maybe we'll do something where we end up doing a show on Saturday instead of Friday and promote the Sunday one, because that one will be a lot of Super Bowl prop stuff, and that might be one that ends up getting a little bit bigger. So we'll always take one of these contests on the weekend. We'll pump them for you. Chase will be here with me. And if you're a fan of college basketball, come join us tomorrow, 7 o'clock Pacific time, 10 o'clock Eastern time for Cutting Nets. Wolfie, thank you so much, buddy. Good luck on this one. Everyone gets a pick'em.santanita.com.